So there's one funny thing that's going on right now is there's a call to boycott Walmart, and it's because Josh Hawley, Republican senator, announced he's going to be objecting to the electoral vote count, supporting Donald Trump. The Walmart official Twitter account tweeted. I wonder if the Newsweek article has the tweet. They do. Check this out. Walmart tweeted. Walmart, the actual Twitter account for verified Walmart. Go ahead, get your 2-hour debate, sore loser. Walmart had to issue a public apology. It was a team member who forgot to switch accounts, and conservatives are like, no, like we're going to boycott Walmart. Well, progressives, seeing the opportunity, were like, yeah, conservatives, woo, you're right, let's boycott Walmart. And then they're going, we actually just want to boycott Walmart because they're a massive corporation that rips off their employees and doesn't pay fair wages. And then I'm sitting there like, I don't care what your reason is for boycotting Walmart. I think Walmart's trash. Yeah. I think we got to support mom and pop shops. Yeah. So if you're mad about them tweeting at Josh Hawley and you want to boycott it, I'll take it. If you're a progressive that doesn't like they're paying wages, I agree with you. So how about we help the small businesses, the little people who need support right now, and we stop shopping at Walmart?
I'm with it. I mean, Walmart's taking their profits from us right now, and they're investing it back into Wuhan, China, of all places, which is absolutely disturbing. What do you make of all of this, Chris? Are you with?
Are you going to boycott Walmart?
Are you going to boycott Walmart?
I have been for years. I'm way ahead of the curve.
Okay.
Oh, great, excellent. I haven't been. I've been a little lazy on it. And I saw a tweet from Jen Perlman we had on the show, and she said we should boycott Walmart because, like, you know, they don't pay fair wages or whatever. And this is true. I mean, Walmart pays trash, and then their employees have to get welfare to make up the difference.
Yeah, it's a subsidy.
Yeah, I'm like, why are my taxes going to that? That doesn't make me happy. So, yeah, maybe Walmart should pay better.
Yeah, this is the Ponzi scheme that's going on right now. Many people aren't being paid a living wage, and they have to go on government assistance, which, of course, is paid for through the tax dollars. It's another subsidy that they're receiving, which is an unfair advantage than anyone else in the business field. This is not a free market capitalistic society. This is a society by the rich for the rich when they have socialism.
Even these living wages are money from the Federal Reserve that are not sustainable. We got to pay back with interest. It's completely there are no living wages right now.
Let's say living buying power or buying value
for the moment, but it's not sustainable.
No. I'm not talking about the Federal Reserve. I'm saying people need to have a way to sustain themselves with proper buying power, and the Federal Reserve strips that away. That's the problem. I agree with you. So what I'm saying is, you got a lot of people who are mad at Walmart because they insulted Josh Hawley, who was supporting Trump. Come on board. Let's. But listen. Conservatives all about helping the small business owner and the people who are fighting and working for themselves. I agree with you. We should be shopping at the boutique stores, but they've all been shut down. So the government not only is paying a subsidy wage to the people who aren't being paid enough by Walmart, our taxes cover that. And then the government comes in and shuts down all the small businesses, forcing us to go to places like Walmart. Talk about a lucrative merger between corporation and state.
Oh, there's a word for that. Fascism. I thought all the left was supposed to be fighting all that, but here they are really cheering it on.
The left's definition of fascism is ultranationalism and traditionalism, and they argue that even though I believe Mussolini said it was the lucrative merger between corporation and state for like a singular purpose, it was nationalistic. But I think, look. When we say fascism, we usually just mean totalitarian dictatorship, single party rule. And why are we left and right? We got to come together and let's, you get left over here and the right over here. We all crack beers together and realize for different reasons we're mad at Walmart. Can we all agree that Walmart is bad? And it's I'm sorry for singling out Walmart. Actually, I'm not sorry for singling out Walmart, but it's other stores too. It's Target. It's these big box stores, and it's Amazon. Amazon's so easy. Whenever we need something, it's like I can just go to Amazon, boom, it's there, and it's Prime, it's delivered. We got to go back to supporting people. Mm-hmm. The problem we have right now, money is being siphoned away, a transfer of wealth. It's not just happening because of COVID and the lockdowns. Everything that the left has pointed out, referencing that Walmart doesn't pay enough, so their employees go on welfare, and then our taxes pay for those people. That's another transfer of our wealth to a massive corporation. Yep. I'm not cool with that.
Or individuals like Jeff Bezos. I was about to say, can we please do Amazon too? Because they had 1.5 billion items that were delivered just during this holiday season. They had a 50% increase since last year's holiday season in the amount of people that used them. And this is a company working on the latest and greatest police state technology, quantum computing to break encryption, artificial intelligence. They're working with the CIA. They're working with the Pentagon. If there ever was a legitimate threat against your civil liberties, against your freedoms, against your economic future, it's Amazon. Let's just.
I got all these things on Amazon. The Gorilla 2 and the Crystal Ball and the Plasma Ball. I think I got this glass on Amazon.
It reminds me
this thing too, maybe.
It reminds me of Idiocracy, where Costco is just this massive multi-square mile building where like people get lost inside.
Dude, it's incredibly convenient when they can drone deliver things through the stratosphere. When we're going to be able to drone ship materials like into the desert. Because we're just launching these drones. It's going to be we're supposed to live. I just don't like one guy owning that. And I don't want to seize the production, but maybe there's a better way to decentralize the ability.
This is why I'm all about mixed economy. I don't like the idea of here's what I don't like. I don't like when the regular working class person loses their rights to figure out what they need and trade as they want. And that's what you get with full-on socialism or communism. When the regular working class person loses choice. I'll tell you what I really, really don't like. I don't like Jeff Bezos extracting value and destroying mom and pop shops. I don't like big box stores setting up next to a boutique, shutting them down. I don't like Starbucks setting up next to a small town mom and pop coffee shop and then dropping their prices to gut them out. And then once they're gone, cranking the prices back up. That's a problem.
What's at the root of all this?
The job economy?
It's obviously capitalism. I say, you know what? The workers of the world, I'm kidding.
It's the job economy, right? What do you think it is?
It's money. It's just money. It's like this old biblical sort of understanding of mammon, right? So mammon comes out and confuses people with his shiny baubles, and people do crazy stuff against every principle they have. We have corporations right now that will do anything for that bottom line. Anything. Yeah. So one of the things I track is insects, birds, all this stuff. I'm kind of an outdoor guy, right? And they're just plummeting. They're in decline.
What birds?
Birds, massively.
Birds aren't real. I'm kidding. Somebody was posting in the chat over and over again.
I know. I don't know what that was about. Didn't take. That was a failed meme. It did not launch. But
no, there's a subreddit called Birds Aren't Real, and they go at it.
I know they keep trying, but the capital T try. It's painful at this point. So let's keep moving. But
so what kind of birds are you tracking?
All of them, all the migratory birds at this point in time. They're just they're in huge decline everywhere. Wow. They just had this massive buy-off that just happened just this past week in White Sands in New Mexico, all that place where they were trying to migrate, but they just couldn't make it. They just fell out of the sky dead.
Sparrows?
All kinds of things. Everything migratory.
Really?
Yep.
They were falling out of the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Just getting emaciated. They're out of food. So the insects are all gone.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm old enough. You guys might not know this, but when we would go on family trips, right, get in the old Woody station wagon, no seatbelts, was that kind of an era. Every gas stop, which was plenty because the cars got zicked for mileage, right? I would have to crawl out and try and get the bugs off the windshield, and they were just thick, right?
Yeah.
But not just one type, not a swarm of mayflies. There's grasshoppers and dragonflies and big things and little things. You don't see that anymore. Yep. I now drive hundreds of miles over the course of the summer and might get one bug. And it's not because my car's aerodynamic. They just aren't there.
We got spider crickets here.
And we're doing that. Things? Yeah, those things are nasty. They're a little scary, right? And we're doing that because we decided to switch to a new brand of pesticides called neonicotinoids. And we did this because it's just a little bit cheaper, right?
Yeah.
And they get to sell a couple $2 billion worth, but we're taking out the bottom of the food chain. So the larger story around the same story as Walmart, the theme for me is we have to get back in right relationship with ourselves, with our workers, with our biosphere. Like if we don't get this relationship thing right and we keep going spiraling down this great reset, control everything, I think it ends badly.
I think
people. Wait. Wouldn't the Great Reset help solve that problem?
No, it would exacerbate it tenfold because it's the same people, the heads of Monsanto, the heads of all these regulatory quote groups. Today, Joe Biden just picked a gentleman that's deemed Mr. Monsanto as the top head of the USDA today.
Well, there's change you can believe in.
Yes, exactly. And and those are the same individuals bringing in the Great Reset. So we're gonna have Mr. Monsanto at the head of agriculture. That's gonna make everything right for you. I mean, I'm sorry, it's gonna be naive to believe any of these individuals because when you look at their track record, when you look at what Monsanto did, not just with Roundup, but with so many different instances that I could bring up here right now, it is absolutely dumbfounding why they are still allowed to be an entity that exists. It's crazy.
You hear about the rat that was trying to eat a pigeon in New York City?
No, they're that hungry, huh?
Yep.
They're all out of Cheetos and hot dog rinds.
Well,
and
there's
stuff.
also a story today of squirrels attacking human beings.
Exactly. Yeah. Squirrels have been attacking people in New York, biting people. because they're getting desperate. And you know, it's really interesting. I watch these videos of like, you know, a cat and a bunny and they're like laying together. And,
because they're well fed.
Exactly. I was reading like, why is it that we claim that dogs and cats hate each other? And in reality, like you'll see a video of a dog and a cat laying there and, you know, fat and happy. Even for like a lion, you can have a lion and a small little pig or something, and the lion will leave it alone because they're well fed. And they don't want to waste energy fighting. Fighting is dangerous. It's scary. If they get free food from somewhere else, they got no reason to do it. Now we're seeing a rat fighting a pigeon and some dudes swinging at it. But now squirrels are attacking human beings desperate for food because when they have no choice, they would rather fight you, even though they know they're going to die, because they're like, I'm going to die anyway.
You're making me think about humans, man. That's how humans are, too.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Exactly
so
the
what
same.
happens when this lockdown carries on longer and longer and people start smashing their way into these businesses because they have to eat or drink water or something?
We need to figure out a better
Don't
way.
want to be in a city right now.
Yes, that is a recipe
Further
for
and further
disaster. And what you were just talking about, I mean, it's something that I also observed this summer driving around in the United States. I was like, why aren't there a lot of bugs in the windshield like there used to be when I was a kid when we had road trips? And there's none. And it's terrifying because when you look at the kind of ecosystem, it's being interrupted. It's being interrupted in record levels that are going to have a huge impact.
So when I talked about those complex systems before, here's how they work.
Yeah.
And you mentioned jellyfish. There's a great story about this, right? In the Adriatic Sea, they had sardine fisheries for thousands of years. And finally, they just overdid it. Just, you know, mechanized trawlers, GPS, you start 6 inches from where you left off last Tuesday. You know, nothing, they scraped the ocean clean. And once the ecosystem said, oh, there aren't enough fish and the jellyfish could get in a toehold and then they took over, they now have a jellyfish ecosystem and nobody has a clue how to undo that.
Well,
because it's like the marble went out of the fish bowl and went over into the jellyfish bowl, and that's where
and this
it
is
is
going to
now.
have a huge effect on our food industry, and people don't even realize this.
Do you know about the mussels in Lake Michigan in Chicago? It's an invasive species.
The zebra mussels, you mean?
Yeah, is that what it was?
Yeah. We had those in the lake that I went to.
Yeah, they
but-
just start spreading like crazy, invasive species. So listen though, if all these bugs are gone, and we have these acidification and dead zones, and now they're saying that because we've locked everything down for a year, that CO2 levels have dropped and emissions are going down and stuff like that, won't that help solve a lot of this problem? Won't that help insects come back and ocean life come back?
Up to a point. The work I do in the world is about this. We need a new narrative. So we live by stories, and we had this story that was running for thousands of years. Stop me if you heard it. Be fruitful and multiply. Right? At a time when that story came out and they're like, this is a kick-ass story, we need to use this. It's because, there were basically a few million people on the planet. We're at a different part of this story. And I think that's what the Great Reset people are wrestling with. I think they're doing it inelegantly. I think they're doing it, a little bit duplicitously. But we need a new story that says, how do we live within our means? How do we live within our ecological budget? Because what used to be, you could just sort of overshoot that and who cares, and it always bounces back. But now it's not bouncing back. And that's what people are feeling. I think because we evolved on this planet through billions of years, that we can feel that on some level. And I think that explains why people are so anxious right now, because we're kind of destroying the place we live on.
But I don't think we need to be put in check. I think they need to be put in check, because when you look at the ones most responsible for pollution, when you look at the ones most responsible for pesticides, they are the ones who are responsible.
Yeah, but
so that's why I don't trust their
hold
solution.
on. You were just mentioned, like 73% of Americans are fat?
Either obese or overweight, according to a new report that just came out.
I'll look.
Yes, we could all be better. Of course, I agree with you.
But listen, I think the problem is twofold. You've got massive corporations that are pumping out carbon emissions, and I see this from the left. They say, stop demonizing the people. It's the corporations that are responsible for the majority of the pollution.
Predominantly, yes.
Yeah, but it's the people who are buying and demanding that the corporations
Not just
continue.
them. When we're talking about Monsanto, these are people that leveraged government at almost every element to get an unfair advantage to do whatever the hell they wanted to.
Yeah.
And it's not a free market competition. No one said, hey, I really want to support GMO seeds now. I really want, Frankenstein to go into the laboratory and build some gene splicing between pigs and tomatoes. No one voted for that with incentives.
Is that real?
There's a lot of gene splicing,
Pigs
a lot of
and
craziness going. Yeah, I mean, you got to look up the direct references, but there is crazy gene splicing experiments that are being done.
Remember when Homer Simpson spliced tobacco and tomatoes together?
Yes, I remember that episode.
And then for some reason, the tobacco inside the tomato was already dehydrated. Like I was like, what is up with that?
Well,
cook it?
there's things that, of course, people never voted for. And there's many ways you could vote. You could vote with your dollar. You could vote with your attention. By watching this podcast, you are voting with your attention, and it's a huge way to incentivize what you want. And I think I agree on that element, that we as human beings need to realize every decision we make does have an impact. We do ultimately matter. We are the change that we want to see in this world, and if we're not doing good, we're not prepared, we're not responsible for ourselves, no one else will be.
I'll put it simply, man. Look, I am so on board to save this planet. We're talking about ocean acidification, climate change, the birds falling from the sky, the bugs are gone. I'm getting scared, right? And then I'm like, all right, Obama, tell me what to do. And he's like, well, I just bought a boat and a big $30 million mansion on the beach. And I'm like, okay, you're clearly not taking this seriously, dude. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Right. You remember after An Inconvenient Truth comes out, right? You know, and scares a lot of people, and you get to the end of it, and it's kind of like, well, maybe you should, I don't know, maybe you should like put some compact fluorescent light bulbs in. You're going, how does this connect? But so I actually go to the website. I'm like, okay, what is he up to, Mr. Gore? And then you find out he has 6 homes with a collective 60,000 square feet of
Private
not
jets.
him, not him. It's not about him and all that. But the reason I'm really excited to be here is because I think the problem definition is great. But this is where the new story comes in, and there's all these young people in particular. Every revolution starts with young people, right? I feel like the Great Reset is really just a lot of older people, saying, here's how we have to hold on to this, keep it all stitched together. But there's young people farming in ways that are regenerative. I've seen people at scale, like building soil in ways where everything comes back in natural abundance. So it's not that we can't do this. People are like, without Monsanto, how would we feed the world? The truth is we can. There's models out there, but we're not doing it.
I think,
and we should do.
I think we got a great glimpse of this when the leftists took over the autonomous zone, and they had their LARP farm where they were throwing down cardboard and trying to put
how'd that work out?
It didn't work out.
Didn't go out.
But one thing that you were advocating for was for individuals to learn how to farm, how to be sustainable to themselves. There's many benefits to this, and it's something that I've been telling people to do as well, and I think it's key, and I think it's crucial, and I think we're reaching a point where it might be even essential.
So, the great reskilling. I think that's the great movement that's coming.
Well, let me
great
ask you,
reskilling.
Graphene is going to change everything. Are you familiar with it?
Graphene?
Yeah.
That could.
They figured out last year how to print graphene from carbon dioxide by depositing it onto copper and palladium with hydrogen turned into oxygen. So it's going to come to a point where we're harvesting too much carbon dioxide and we're competing with the trees. We're going to have to build an industry for the 21st century that works in tandem with the trees so that we don't use too much of it.
I just bought these graphene composite batteries. They have 2.5 full cell phone charges, like external batteries. They charge in 15 minutes. That's crazy.
Yeah, the 21st century, it's the new steel. It's going to change everything. I mean, it already has. We can also use iron fertilization to reintroduce iron oxide into the ocean to grow the plankton so that it has some carbon dioxide sequestration capability, but it's more for creating plankton for the fish to regrow the fish population and it might solve the jellyfish issue.
That's all very promising, Ian. But where does intersectionality and diversity come into these programs?
They get to go to space.
Are the people who are developing these iron oxide things, do they have a board that is equally male and female with some non-binary and non-white individuals? Yeah. Because the Great Reset incorporates this intersectionality stuff too for some reason.
People from all over.
What is that? That's the other thing. Look, I can criticize like Greta Thunberg for saying like, "How dare you?" and then getting on this really multi-million-dollar trip on the ocean that like no one could do in like in their lifetime, and she says all these things. And I can criticize that, but also I'm just curious, what does intersectionality and like wokeness have to do with fixing the planet?
It's a useful tool to push their agenda. It's a useful tool to subjugate people to see each other as different, to divide and conquer them so they could easily conquer us and have us fighting each other rather than realizing the actual crap that we're in.
It's like they're bored. Like when you're focused on something, you're not thinking about if you're a man. That doesn't enter what you're working on. You're doing something. That's that thing. What I am is not there when I'm working on that.
Did you see the viral tweet?
We got to give people something to work on.
Do you see the viral tweet that asks all cis people to ask themselves these questions because they'll realize they're actually trans? No joke. No. And I think James Lindsay, who's like one of the foremost experts on wokeness, wrote about it they were proposing like a fake study where everyone is trans. But there's this is what we're actually seeing. Trans activists saying every child should be put on puberty blockers. We're seeing trans activists say that, everyone is trans and things like that. And I mean, if you are, do your thing. That's cool. I'm just wondering how the intersectionality, wokeness, non-binary stuff that's incorporated into all this is it like how am I supposed to believe that these people are serious about saving the planet when they're talking about stuff that's totally irrelevant to it and flying around in private jets? That's my problem. I want to believe. I want to believe. I want to get a low flow toilet.
Yeah.
I want to get a low flow shower head, and it's like trickling down. And you can barely shower, and you're like, "Well, I'm doing what I can for the planet." But then they're getting like, I tell you, these rich people, they've got those showers where they have like 5 jets all around them, and it's raining like the whole building. It's like 1,000 square feet of just raining on them, and they're like
apoptosis, that function of nature where cells will just kill themselves if they're no longer needed. That's real.
That's scary. That's not.
That's how mentality works.
Congrats for bringing apoptosis in. I like that.
Let me just say one thing. If you live in the middle of nowhere and you're on a well, I don't think there's a big deal with taking a long shower, right? Because it's just well water. It's not going to go back into the earth or something, right? Yeah. It's like the cities that are straining and taking up too much fresh water. Is that the problem?
Well, this whole idea, so they've been pushing things down like there are issues. You mentioned this, Luke, right? So it's like if you could just be a little bit better and buy a smaller car or maybe have a smaller life or just, shower for, on a low flow for just a couple minutes, all that isn't going to do squat. When you really look at where we are, there's difference. So a problem has a solution. And we talk about a lot of things like they're problems, but other things are just predicaments. And a predicament only has an outcome. You got to manage that, right? So Japan has an aging population and is getting smaller. Mm-hmm. That's a predicament. There's no solution to that you're going to solve by passing a new law. But what are they doing with their banking system? They're just printing more and more and more debt because they're like, our economy has to grow. Yeah. No, the economy should shrink. It should shrink just like their people are shrinking. The economy should be in service of the people, but they have it all backwards. So in this story, you're mentioning all these things like intersectionality and things like that. They don't even relate to the predicaments we've been just talking about. Like, to me, the most important thing is we should have a national and if not a global plan that says, what are we going to do when, not if, but when all these fossil fuels really begin to wind down? How are we going to feed everybody? What does the future look like? What do our cities look like? Where are people going to live? What are they going to do? These are big questions.
People are being forced out of cities because of all the chaos. One of the things I was saying is that I think on the bright side is a lot of people are going to start to understand the value of hard work. You got no choice, but you can't. If you have no job and you need to eat, you got to figure out how you're going to eat. You move out of the big city, go to the middle of the nowhere, build your own little shack, and then farm.
Now, what you mentioned with Japan is that also actually happening in China because of their one-child policy. They have an inequity between men and women, and they're also trying to figure out a way to, of course, keep their economic growth by keeping their population large, and they're having a hard time because they don't want to open their borders. Europe, on the other hand, their populations are declining very rapidly, and some European economic analysts are saying that we need to open the borders. We need to let the third world in to help give more people so we have more economic growth in our country. That's literally what they were arguing. And I think we also have to see exactly what's happening as the populations of Japan decline and the populations of the Western world decline as well. I think those are also things that are very eye-opening.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., so come back to check us out when we go live. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and we are also available on all podcast platforms for free if you want to listen to us there. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.